But no, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. It was weird. I want to give a little brief introduction first, but also kind of a little setup to how we kept kind of like we were like passing like ships in the night for a little bit. but no, everyone, welcome to the live stream. We've got James III, who I as I said earlier, I actually knew first from Adam Ruins Everything. But also, creator of Astronomy Club on Netflix, has written for and acted in a bunch of different things, from I believe was All That to the Fairly Odd Parents, and New Wish, just a bunch of stuff, yeah, and also writing comics, also writing the comic we're going to be talking about today, which we already got 2 issues out for Junior number 1 and 2, Junior number 3 on Kickstarter right now. And yeah, we're here to talk about all that. but yeah, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm all right. I dropped my daughter off at school, and and so now I'm ready to chat. I'm ready to, you know what I'm saying?
It's like I'm ready to get in here. Let's do this.
Let's do it. I'm ready,
well, one of the things that I was kind of putting people on game a little bit about the comic we're gonna be talking about, Junior, is that for me, there was a lot of factors that kind of played into what drew me into it. For those who do not know, Junior is about a young black man by the name of Sean, has I guess you could say like a misfortunate accidental death.
Yes.
Like it's like one of the it's like the worst, like almost like not exactly ghost dadded himself, but like, I mean, not terribly far from it.
Yeah, no, Ghost Dad is sort of what it is. Ghost Dad inspired.
But he finds himself in the afterlife, and what also kind of pulled me in on this too is that it's a very it's like a really awesome homage to kind of like the afterlife of Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
And he needs someone to orientate him to his new status quo, and it is none other than his father.
Yes.
Who it becomes pretty obvious he does not have much of a relationship with.
Right.
So other than for the fact that his dad's dead. but I loved it because it for one, I'm a third, as are you, and as is the main character. So like I had a little bit of I had, and I also have a weird relationship with my dad. So.
And there's a lot of us out there. A lot of us thirds walking around. We don't have the Junior moniker. There's something loving and familial about even being called Junior. When you're the third, right. It's just you that other one.
Well, because it's like, what do they call you? Like because it's always like, oh yeah, Junior, yes, Junior over there. And then like me, I'm just like, there's like, yeah, you here, somebody, I guess. I don't know. But what I actually thought was very I guess like impactful about it is, I mean, there's a lot of really good core messaging in there, and I don't know, it touched a brother's heart. So so when you hit me up, I was like, yeah, let's talk about this. But obviously this stuff comes, very likely, stories like this, especially from a very personal place.
Yeah.
Like obviously the inspiration is there, but like, how did the story come to you? Like what actually like motivated you to want to tell the story?
I mean, yeah, obviously, yes. The inspiration is my, growing up not knowing my father
Mm,
at all, and
mm,
when I was a kid, it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me to not have a dad. I didn't have a, I didn't know him growing up. He died when I was 18 months old, something like that.
oh
And
man.
yeah, and so it didn't bother me as a kid. And then when I got to be his age, in my mid 20s, was when I realized, like, oh, this is strange. Like, I feel so young.
Hmm.
He was so young, and so I had done a lot of ruminating on that as an idea, and I did like a solo show called Junior that was like me kind of going very typical solo show type stuff, like my dad, and I'm doing a slam poem, and stuff like that. It was all of that stuff, embarrassingly, and also, but I loved it. I gotta say, but it is embarrassingly like exactly what you think of when you think of a solo show. is
No,
is what it
no.
was, and
No. We gotta put some respect on it, dog. We gotta put some respect on it, dog.
and
We out here for the solo show, man. That's
yeah,
take
I
bravery.
appreciate
That's bravery.
it. And then I started thinking, like, I thought that it would stop there, and I started thinking about, like, oh, what is my then it started, my managers and my reps started being like, you should really write like your Atlanta, like you can do an Atlanta type show, and so I
Hmm.
started and so I started writing something around this idea that had like a kind of grittier, edgy, kind of everybody's sweaty kind of take on on the story.
Yeah.
And I actually called it Ghost Dad for a while.
Mm.
And and but then it hit me as I was working on it, like that just isn't me. That is not my lane. And I was literally watching Beetlejuice one day, and I was like, well, what if I meet him in the afterlife? What if the character based on me meets my dad in the afterlife, and and is thrown by how they're around the same age, and like what could that be? And then
Hmm.
that's where this concept came from. And so it really is like me trying to figure out, because I'm a goofball, and I love supernatural stuff, and so like kind of playing in the netherworld, and kind of figuring out how, because I think people, particularly in the industry of making art and stuff, people are still nervous about suicide,
Hmm.
and about unaliving, I guess I should is what we're saying now, but people are
I
wary
flip
about
flop.
talking about that. Yeah.
It
As
depends on
we
what
all
day
do,
you
I
catch
guess.
me. I'm just like,
Yeah. And so I worked really hard to kind of create something that I thought was meaningful to me, and also could be funny, and could kind of deal with the things that for me are so strange and are sad, but also like kind of they do makes me laugh sometimes, and so
mm.
and so that's where the idea came from.
Well, I could definitely say just from you know, just from just an introduction on it alone, and just kind of seeing how the two characters when they meet, how like they're you the you can tell there's that awkwardness. Like for me, my dad is alive, but he
Hmm.
may as well be dead. Like
Yeah.
so it's like it reminded me of every awkward conversation I've had when me and my dad are like around each other, where it's like, ooh, what do we talk about with each other? Because
Hmm.
I don't know this motherfucker. it's, it's like I don't
Yeah.
know this dude. Who is this guy?
Yeah. And
but
that, and truly, like that, the idea of like your because me not knowing my dad, like what the
Mhm.
idea of like, what if my dead dad was actually a deadbeat, all
Yeah,
this time?
right.
He
Like
never got the
figuratively
chance
and
to be
literally.
that. Yeah. But like, what would that be? There's something, to me, there's something funny about that as an
Mm.
idea of like he was gonna be that anyway. He was gonna
Right.
be absent anyway.
Right. It's like, look, we knew what this was. We knew what this
Yeah.
was. Well, I just for the tone of it and how it still kind of tackles all those like those uncomfortable subjects at the same time. I thought it was really cool because I think that you're right. That's something we don't really talk about. I think at least not in a way that I feel is meaningful enough. And enough times, because I mean, people, it's a real issue. I guess retiring one's own jersey, unaliving, however anybody wants to put it. I never really know sometimes, just because suicide in and of itself is just a harsh, word in and of itself. But like, it's one of those things that like, I actually, and when I got to the end of the first issue, and I saw that there was like stuff for like, hey, go check out the Trevor Project, and things like here's suicide prevention hotlines and stuff like that. I was like, dude, I thought that was cool because it just I think it's those are things, especially in especially within the Black community. It's already something that's kind of like not really addressed enough broadly, but within the Black community itself, it's I don't think it's something that's mental health in general is something still kind of a relatively more recently accepted talking piece, but just within that concept itself, I was just like, dude, I thought it was really cool. I was like, I'm here for it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, I very strongly remember either like it was after high school. It had to be maybe either in college or shortly post college. I remember a friend of mine, he was a Black guy, and he said, he was talking about something that was going on in his life, and then he made sure he stopped and said, I mean, I don't need therapy.
It's like,
and that, I mean, and at the time it was still kind of the early kind of days of therapy becoming more and more accepted, but to me, I was like, I think it's fine to be in therapy, but like whatever that person's journey was, it was so taboo to them. The idea of it was so taboo to them, and I just find that interesting that like we've spent so much time with mental health sort of being a thing, or talking about the idea of mental health and mental wellness as being a thing that means something is wrong with you. And that's it's unfortunate that it can't just be a thing of like it's part of your body and you want to keep it up and you want to maintain wellness there, the same as you go to the gym, the same as whatever.
There's nothing wrong with getting your inner mental workings adjusted. It's sometimes you got to talk to people. That's always kind of been one of those things that I don't know. I never really fully understood it. It's just like, I don't take any, I think back to being a kid and be like, man, all those times that like, that I was around other children and, and people were like, oh no, that kid's just bad. It's like, no, probably something going on there. There are bad kids, but there's probably something else going on. And if we address it, maybe it'll work itself out.
Ask a question. Maybe ask a question.
Like, no, I got to get.
Don't just label and move on. Ask a question. You might discover something.
Right? Like I oftentimes think back and wonder, like, man, would I be a more well-adjusted person if like mental health was actually addressed when I was a child? It's like I'm figuring all this stuff now. Like I'm grown.
There's no way to know.
There's no way to know. But
don't even worry about it.
But like what I also liked about this book too is that it doesn't just it also has other like stuff going on in it too. Like there's other like I guess just kind of through the lens of Sean reconnecting with his dad and also seeing how his dad interacts with other people in the afterlife. You're just kind of getting a little snapshot of who his father was, which once again is knowledge he didn't have before, but like seeing all kinds of like different historical figures and all kinds of otherworldly entities and things of that nature. Like there's a lot that's happening in it. And like, can you give us what's going on? Because obviously Sean and his dad, they've reconnected in the first issue, and now we're kind of get us caught up on where they're going to be going with this new issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the series is sort of just refillable, sitcom-y-esque afterlife adventures, and so each issue, we meet a sort of a different supernatural entity, and through some kind of accidental, or not, or not, that wasn't the plan, was not to interact with whatever it is that we're interacting with, and seeing how Junior and Sean overcome that and grow as father and son. And I put son in father in quotation marks because Junior's still not admitting that's his offspring, but
right. He's like, I don't know. That's negligible.
So, like, yeah, it's not, I don't know. Let's do a DNA test, but you can't because the DNA's dead at this point. So, and so like this image of them, that the primary cover for issue 3 is sort of them in like their kind of netherworld jumpsuits, and it's seemingly like a Ghostbuster-esque type thing due to a mail snafu, because they work in the mailroom or the post office, and they're sort of dealing with ghosting. The concept of ghosting actually exists in the netherworld, but in a different kind of way. And so that's one of the primary stories in the third issue. But the third issue is also the reason that it's a double issue is because we break into an anthology here, and so we're continuing the Junior and Sean story while also introducing other elements of the netherworld, because for me, and like you said, there's a lot of supernatural stuff going on, and I just got interested in the world building and like what like all these kind of characters that are introduced in issue 1 and issue 2, like what else is going on for them, and kind of building that out. Like there's this guy in the first issue, the head in the back room, and he has this line where he's like talking about, I'll explain why I don't have a body. And then he goes, anyway, I have no idea where it is. And that was just like a sideline that I wrote. And as I was working on the comic, I started thinking like, oh man, what'd be great is if like we see him trying to find his like where the rest of his body, and he doesn't have a body, so how is he moving around? And in that scene, he's with there's a skeleton that comes into the back room, and they have like kind of like a joking kind of almost not Three Stooges, Marx Brothers-esque banter back and forth with each other. And so they're going off on adventures, and so one of the stories is sort of introducing this idea that like head in the back room and 206 go on adventures throughout the netherworld trying to find his body, and some of the other characters too are explored in different ways. I have some superheroes. They're called the Unalive Vengers, and it's just the Netherworld superhero team. And what are the things that they're fighting, and the kind of what is the darkness of that? And it's it's meant to be fun and silly while also having some action and sort of I love action comedy, and so that's sort of what and horror comedy, obviously, and that's sort of the playground I'm trying to play.
Horror comedy has a special place in my heart, so I'm always here for it. I just really thought it was cool because a lot of the characters you see as ghosts in the afterlife, they all kind of have that, hey, this is how I died, kind of appearance. It's like, so I thought all that was really cool. And there's so many, like, I don't know. I feel like with with the type of world that it is, it does kind of have this openness to have a lot of other stuff going on, because it's not just, oh, hey, all right, we're dead, this is heaven or somewhere in between or whatever. We're all just kind of chilling and hanging out. It's like, no, it's like it's almost like the afterlife is treated like it's just another place that, like, it's another world that has all of its own stuff, like all of its own shit going on. So I thought that was pretty neat, like just the way it was, like it was all the way that it was like all fleshed out.
I appreciate that. I mean, like I said, I was watching Beetlejuice, which gave me the original idea to explore my dad's story, or my story with my dad, in this way. And I just kept thinking about, like, what's all the stuff that we didn't get to see in Beetlejuice, and then when Beetlejuice came out, if you saw that, it, like, a lot of the stuff that like, there's a couple things even that are like jokes that I had in Junior, in the first issue of Junior, that essentially happen in Beetlejuice, and I was just like, okay, I was onto something with those things. So but the goal was, like, to really kind of feel like, it's the how Terminator 4 was like, we're actually finally in the future and we're seeing the whole future. This Junior is like, we're finally in the afterlife and just sort of existing in the I think it's called the neither world in it's like, it's picture, that's what I was trying to do with it. So.
Well, I mean, it seems like you were pretty prophetic, because that was actually the first thing that crossed my mind, was because technically we had talked well before Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
So, like, when I read it, and I'm not gonna lie, when I was sitting there watching Beetlejuice like many moons later, I was like,
no one saw it. No one saw it.
I was like, nah. I was like, they biting this. Look. I was like, nah. I was like, y'all need to kiss his ring, because
I told somebody that in an executive in a meeting, that, like, there's stuff in Beetlejuice that I wrote in Junior, and they were like, do you think they stole it? And I was like, no, I truly. But there's one part in particular that really floors me. I mean, the train station sequence really feels like it, but there's when she is getting her passport stamped. They take the picture. I was just like, I did that. I did the picture thing. But that really, I was like, oh man, I'm writing on that level. Give me a movie. Can somebody get me a movie?
Right. I mean, it like you said, it's very clear that you were on to something, and I usually I always tell people this all the time. Like, if you come up with an idea and then, like, somewhere, like, it could be a year, it could be 2 years, whatever, later, whatever, and you see someone else, like, being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this too, and it's like, okay, all right. I was a bad motherfucker. That's okay. That's all right. I know you. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I would be a little tight, but I would also, my chest would kind of poke out a little bit, and I'd be like,
no, this specifically only made me proud. This, like, it truly was like, and because like they've been trying to do a sequel to Beetlejuice for years, and never did it. And I'm quietly writing my thing and, like, making my comics, and, like, Junior's out, for a year or maybe in change before Beetlejuice comes out. And then it's like, oh wow, that, I truly was my finger was on the pulse in a way that it almost never is.
Nah. Well, let me ask you this, because it's something that I'm always curious about whenever I talk to anyone who writes for multiple different mediums, I'm always curious to know, like, if is there any difference to how you obviously medium aside, but just like, is there any difference how you like tackle like your writing process for a comic versus when you write for like television or film?
Yes, 100%. I think the structure is just only a little bit different, because I think that stories are we kind of have kind of developed a humans have kind of developed a way we like to perceive things,
Yeah.
and then and that kind of that adjusts on based on culture, like there's sort of different things that are more accepted in other places than they are, but but yes, there is I start with let me back up. Junior was written as a half-hour pilot first, and was then
Okay.
adapted. So issues 1 and 2 were adapted to comics. Everything's post that is written as a comic first, and I think the biggest difference for me with when I'm writing comics versus when I am writing for TV, let's say, is I'm starting with images usually,
Mm.
and kind of trying to think about like, and I'm mostly kind of thinking about, are like, what are the big sort of impactful images that I want to show and share, and then kind of build around that, where for television, I'm thinking about dialogue first. And so Junior 1 and 2 is very dialogue heavy, and I don't know that I'm ever gonna break out of that. But I'm often starting with dialogue when I'm
Mm.
writing for the screen, and with comics I'm starting with images, and I'm thinking of like, oh, what are the splash pages, and
Mm.
what are the double spreads, and I'm kind of starting there and building around that.
Oh, I'll give you this much. It's not like you were writing early days Chris Claremont levels of wordiness, so you're good.
Yeah.
You're not writing Jonathan Hickman levels of wordiness,
Yes.
where it's like 20 million word bubbles on the page. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're still
Bless
in good
you.
standing.
Bless you. I think where my hang up is more in the back and forth. There's a lot of like quippy stuff, and
Mhm.
like and so then because of that, it's, to me, maybe this is also just me shitting on myself, but but it's like, you almost want new panels for a lot of that back and forth, and but you don't have that space. You don't. No, let me back up.
Right.
You don't have that. You don't have that money to pay for the.
I'm about to say,
You don't have the money to pay for that many pages. So
I was about to say, just to interject real quick for those, as a person who has recently discovered the the monetary pain of page count. Nah.
yeah,
There's a reason why comics typically don't exceed like
yeah,
22 pages. That shit gets
absolutely.
expensive.
It sure do.
I'm like, man, look, can we just do like 5 for now? Like, can we
And
can we tell it in 5?
you gotta. It's so funny. What often happens with me is I will shoot for the shorter length, and then for no reason at all, I'll be like, but I need a splash page here, and then I just throw in another page for no reason, for one line of dialogue or something, but so that can hit in the way that you think that it needs. That has happened to me on almost every time I've done a short preview or a short story. Almost every time, for no reason at all, I'm like, I'll spend another couple $100,
Yeah,
on all 3 areas too, because everyone is by page.
mm-hmm. Well, I was gonna say whoever, like, and this, yeah. See, that's the thing people don't think about. If you're penciler and your inker and your color artists aren't the same person, like, or even if they are, different people, like, doesn't matter really. Then you got your letter to take into account.
Yeah.
There's also page turn to take into account, because like, okay, well, if I add this page, okay, well, does it throw off the page turn over here? And it's like,
yes.
Well, now I gotta write another page to make up for
that. That first issue of Junior, Marcus Kwame Anderson, bless his heart, was so patient with me.
Hey,
he was so patient.
He was doing
the
Lord's work. He was doing the Lord's work, man.
I didn't know what I was doing, Marcus. And he knew I didn't know what I was doing. He at that time, that was my first comic, and I'm now only maybe 8 deep at this point. But at that time, it was like, I would do a thing where I'd be like, can we now have a splash page here? And that would fully throw off, because I did a lot of double pages in that one, in that first one. There's not as many in the in issue 2 or beyond. But there's one moment in particular. It was like one of the last things that we did where where Junior is like, let me show you the netherworld, and it's the kind of everything the light touches from the Lion King moment. And and you can kind of tell if anyone gets the book, but you can kind of tell that, like, what happened was Marcus drew it and showed the open window, and I felt like we couldn't see it. We can't. I don't think we can't see it here in this angle. And so I was like, let's do a double spread of the entire netherworld on the next 2 pages. And I gave him like a list of all of the places that I want to see, and this, that, and whatever. And so, like, you can kind of see on the page that, like, there's this giant panel at the bottom where not much is happening in it, but then you flip and you get to kind of see and explore everything. And I really appreciated the work that he did on that. Like, it looks beautiful, and he killed it. He truly,
I mean,
it's amazing to see. And I wanted Ariel, and he was like, I thought it'd be better from looking at it up, and I 1000% agree. But stuff like that happened a couple times in the in the making of that, and he was the fact that he was so he was so patient with me, and he was working on his stuff with David Walker at the time too, and so the fact that he was able to kind of make time when he could, I really appreciated that.
Well, I think it's a testament though that especially for the first issue, even for the things that you might have critiqued yourself, I'll definitely say this much, whether it was a lot of dialogue or not, I never felt like any of it was like a chore to read. Like, I mean, it was all like it was punchy. It kept going. It was snappy. And once again, shout out to Marcus Kwame Anderson, because he really kind of breathed some extra life into it that also kind of enhanced what was already there. Kind of sold that he, like, it was like, I think by any metric, I thought that, like, when you said earlier that you originally wrote Junior as like a half-hour pilot, like, as I like when I it all makes sense. It makes even more sense to me, because when I was going back and reading, I was like, man, this actually would have been like a really cool, like, like little, like I could have, well, I don't know if I'd say Max, because Max just be canceling shit willy-nilly, but I could have seen
who
this
doesn't
as, like,
anymore.
Right? And like, man, man, did you see that only 50 million people watch this? Man, cancel that shit.
It's real. I don't know how many people supposed to be watching TV, but 50 million is not enough.
Right? It's like, wait a minute. Only 10 million people want to watch this?
Even cancel that's it. A massive number. You just said a massive amount of people.
But that's what it feels like. So it's like, wait a minute. Nobody watched it. Meanwhile, you look at the stats, and it's like, streamed, like, even like I don't know. I'm not a money man. I'm not a bean counter. So maybe I'm the worst person to have this opinion. But I'm always just like, man, look, I would just be happy if like a couple 100,000 watch the show.
Yes,
I'm like, man, we did good. that would be
I sure
me.
would be. I sure would be. They weren't watching nothing else. They were not watching anything else at that time. They watched out of everything on television, out of everything available to them, they watched this thing.
Right. It just, but I look at it and that's what I see. When I look at it, I see like, man, this would have been, I think it would have been a good television show. I think it would have been something that, you were kind of talking earlier about, about your management team talking about kind of finding your like your Atlanta. I was like, no, I could see I could have seen this as a show that came on at and been like a back to back. Hey, you get you a little live action chicanery, get you a little animated chicanery, or some live action chicanery, or what, I don't know. You take your pick. But like, it just, I feel like a lot of times, and who knows, maybe maybe we'll put this out in the ether. Maybe somebody will. Maybe somebody will.
Listen, in the ether, let it be out there. Let it be, let it float around. Let it get to somebody's ear. Something. I think that the unfortunate thing this has against it is, we spent a good amount of time earlier just talking about the concept of suicide and the effect that it has on this story, which again, I don't even think it hovers over it as much as it as even we talked about it. But that is the point of this is to demystify it as a concept. I think a big problem is that we don't talk about suicide. So I appreciate that this can be a conversation starter, but I think people are scared. People are, they'll make a 13 Reasons Why, and there'll be copycats out there, and they'll have no problem making several seasons of that show. But something that is made from a place of from an honest, heartfelt kind of place, they're not excited about that. No, they can't. We can't do this.
I need to be sad.
You need to be. Yeah, you gotta.
Well,
I
don't know. I think that man, now more than ever, I think we all kind of need a good laugh.
Yeah. Yes.
Just.
I agree.
Even if it's to laugh through the pain, it's like we kind of need that. And I will also say too that I don't know what the I'm not gonna pretend to have any inside baseball, whatever on the comics industry as far as like what people behind closed doors I've never met before are trying to do. But I definitely think that with the current, like, I guess, like, raised interest in books that are not like in the mainstream, I think people right now probably a lot more now than probably ever before are way more invested in the you're kind of tapping in to books that maybe they've never heard of before, or something that's not already like tied to like a pre-existing IP or anything of that magnitude, or what I always like to call cape comics, capes and masks, and things of that nature. I feel like Junior is definitely like a breath of fresh air. It's like honestly, it's a comic that I could just as easily have seen on any LCS comic shelf, as far as like the level of quality and like the heart that it brings behind it. So that's just all to say, hey, maybe somebody out there somewhere, Mike,
anybody
call your boy, call your boy,
anybody,
call
anybody
him.
Out there, can you please
Look, just just a crumb. Yeah, just well,
anything. The crumb of the crumb. Whatever you got.
I mean, it's wild to me that it's not a like, I don't know. It just blows my mind. Like, and I guess maybe you can demystify some of this for me as well. Like, when it comes to the when it comes to like the comics industry, have you ever like had people like, like whether it's I guess like publishers, like whoever, like what is it like navigating that arena?
Yeah, I mean it's it's still new for me, you know. I've had a couple years of trying, but that only means, you know, that only a couple of doors I've even been able to crack, you know. But yeah, I mean it's very clearly an ever shifting and ever changing industry. It sort of is it always feels like it's on the brink of collapse, you know.
It's basically, yeah, it's like Atlas is kind of like I got this motherfucker.
But truly, you know, everyone's like, if you're not Marvel and DC, you know, and some of the kind of bigger indies, you know, your Images, your Boom or whatever, that it's like, well, hopefully, if you love it, you know, be here because you love it, because you're not gonna be here, but ain't nothing else.
Like here for a good time.
You know, but you know, but with that, you know, what I have still noticed is that it is still filled with people who do have that love of the game and are, you know, and are excited about you know, new stories and getting books to as many people as possible in as many inventive ways as possible, considering, you know, we have what just happened with Diamond and stuff like that. So so yeah, it's been, you know, it's again still, I don't know that I can speak to the state of the entire industry, but in terms of the people that I have interacted with, that has been the vibe.
Well, I can definitely say, yeah, for just for what it's worth, I think that I feel like there's definitely, you know, I feel like there's space. I feel like there's definitely space out there for Junior. I will also say too that for anyone yeah, for anyone that is interested, like if you thought any quarter of this was entertaining, I think you will love Junior. But I actually put some links in the top of the chat, both YouTube and Twitch. I also put there should be a link in the description on YouTube side of things, and y'all should definitely go check it out. Go check out the Kickstarter for Junior #3, and don't even worry about not having read the first 2 issues, because you can pick up those first 2 issues on the Kickstarter as well. As a matter of fact, I think that's what I did. I did because I like physical stuff. So like you can actually get them digital, you get them physical, but they got I think this is cover A. Is this cover A, I think?
Yeah, this is A.
Yeah, this cover A. There's other covers out there, which if I was a faster person, I probably would already have them. I would already have them pulled up. Apologies. I'm working on it, y'all. I'm working on it. But yeah, like, I mean, it looks like it's gonna be fantastic. I loved, you know, what I've already seen of it. It had already, you know, won me over, you know, just in, you know, the first couple of outings, really just in the first outing alone. But I do highly advise, like, go check it out. It is really good. And I'll also say just real quick, because we got a few more minutes. I don't want to say, I know we got some people here. I saw I think I might have seen a question or two. Let me double check. Ooh. But if I have any questions from the chat, please, by all means, ask. This would be the time. If you wait too long, well, No.
You will never be able to talk to either of us again.
Never. Like, as a matter of fact, studio is shut down. The studio is shut down after this. So, I've shut the studio down. I'm not opening it. I don't care. James, he's shutting everything down too. Everything's done after this. It just did it. It's done. It's never. It's never happening again. You'll never get this opportunity again, ever. And even if you follow him on all the social media links that I placed in the description,
the DMs are blocked.
Like, you won't even be able to follow.
No comments.
Nothing. Click follow. It'll give you like an error. Like, you can't.
I don't even have an email.
What is email?
I have that thing from the second season of Black Mirror where I'm blocked off to other people, so you won't even be able to see me in the wild. If I could be right next to you, you wouldn't know it. So
where'd he go? I don't even see him. But no, I guess I don't know if this is a question we can answer. But I'm gonna make an attempt. I don't know. I'm gonna, man. I might mess this up, but yeah, we're gonna try it anyway.
Oh, great.
We're gonna try it anyway. Yeah, like fuck it. We're gonna Bill O'Reilly this shit. Fuck it, we'll do it live. But yeah, we've got Chilimbwe, Washington. I hope I said that correctly because I butcher names. But says
I'm sorry, I'm just reading it.
No, you're good. But how much do artists get screwed when going over to I guess, I don't know if they meant to say mean or maybe just mainstream media venue. The tech of making an online channel does exist. I mean, I don't really know how to. I don't.
I'm not sure I understand what the question is. I mean, this is making me think of the recent chatter around like Marvel's rates, but I don't even think that it's that, right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it could also be in reference to like when movies do full on panel reshoots and stuff like that, and what it amounts to, like a special thanks at the end of that. But I'm not sure I understand the question.
Yeah, it's I'll say this much. I'll say this much on it. Everyone is underpaid. Except for CEOs, everyone is underpaid. That is my answer. My answer is pay everybody. Writers are underpaid, artists are underpaid, visual effects animators, whoever, key grips, craft services, you everybody is underpaid. So that is I this will probably win me no friends, but the people who get paid the most are usually the people who have the least creative input. I've said it. I said the thing. I'm now canceled.
Well, and I don't know how much I can actually say about this in a way that's going to be helpful to the conversation. But as somebody who has, I got into comics by making them, and so I have been responsible for paying people rates, and I'll say the internal struggle that I have, being somebody who does freelance myself, and have been freelancing for a number of years, is like, I would love to have a uniform rate, so like when I work with an artist who has a higher rate, my idea is like, well, I want to pay everybody what I'm paying this. I want to do like a favored nations thing to where, where it is even across the board. And that is not the case, but it is never the case that I am paying someone less than they have. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Less than they have said, this is my rate, And sometimes I'll come in with a rate and someone will say that it's, my rate is more than this. And if I can afford it in that moment, I'll do what I can to do that. And then there's plenty of times where I don't work with an artist because I cannot afford them. And
Yeah.
I think that that's sort of I think that more places need to adopt that as a concept. If you can't afford somebody, getting them for less, and again, I'm an indie creator that is mostly self-funded. Like, these Kickstarters are great, but I am not breaking even. Something to be clear. I am never breaking even.
I had to
My
catch
company
myself.
is in the red. It will be in the red for a while. And that's okay. So when if and when people are willing to work with you, I also do appreciate that. But it's hard out here, man.
Yeah.
It's not, who it's not hard for? It is not hard for the big mainstream companies.
No.
They are, pulling one over on people and because they know you want to work for them. And that's, and I have been in that I've been in that situation where I've been like, well, can my rate be this? Not even that much more than what they said. But I'm getting this on this other project. No. Can I get this here? Nah. that literally just happened to me.
What? Like they looked at you and be like, how dare you?
And I'll say I won't say the exact number of what it was, but I will say that all I was asking for was $10 more a page.
Wow.
Wow. To match a rate I was getting somewhere else. And no was the answer.
Wait. How dare you? Do you know
$10 more?
You are taking? See, now we have to see if we give you $10 more, we're gonna have to take that $10 from somebody else.
Which in production, and that is true, and I have heard that too. I've heard that.
God damn it! I hate it.
Which it does add up, right? Sure, $10 a page is what is what $200 additional dollars.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But it's like, bruh, like you're already like I feel like when you're talking about like a major production, like I'm talking about like, come on, man, look. Y'all already spending a lot of money here. Come on, this ain't.
I know y'all got it.
Look, if you look. I'm not gonna profess to know the full budget of most things, but like for a lot of scripted like television, if like if the budget is already like $1 million an episode,
right?
200 ain't gonna break the bank, okay?
Yeah. If I say I don't have the extra $200 for Rule of Three Inc., I don't have the extra $200. I don't got that.
Look, we broke 5 broke. We ain't got it. Okay, we ain't got it. All right. Well, because the way I look at it, you talked about paying people, what's fair. That's something I've had to look at myself, where I go like, man, I don't know if I could pay this. Look, man, let me bust these pencils out. let me
yeah.
Let me get these pencils out here real quick. Let me see if I can make a little something.
What can I do?
Right? Like, because that's
what do I got?
Right? Because that's my mentality. Like, I'm like, man, look, I ain't got. Like,
yeah.
Shit. Like I turn into old boy from The Wire real quick. Mm-hmm. When I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
I guess I'm like Thanos. I'm gonna have to do this shit myself.
Yeah. The things I want to learn, I already do like our like graphic design posts for the company, and so every now and again I'm like, okay, I can try to learn lettering. And I started as an illustrator. My art is shit now, but but if there's ever something that could live in the cartoony land, I do every now and again, like cartoonist land, or or like kind of web comic land. I do every now and again think maybe I could. I don't have the skill on your level. I don't have your level of maybe I'll do this myself. It will not sell. Nobody's buying that book if I try to print it.
Hey, you never
I
know.
sure do.
He's like, no. He's like, I've tried. I've seen it. It's
it's not great.
No. No, well, Rule. I will also say, just shout out. Apparently, shout out to me because apparently,
Yes.
I said the name correctly. Shout out to me and nobody else but me for that, because I worked really hard to do that. Y'all can tell. But no, I see that. It's wait, Robo, stop. He said if Javier Polito can get work, you definitely can. Hey.
I don't condone or approve.
He's like, no, I didn't. Stop.
That wasn't me.
That wasn't me. He's like look, but no, for me, I'll just say this. I think that, for what you've done already, getting to junior number 3 and being able to like tell a story, create a universe, the Hereafter-Verse. And yeah, I think that's a pretty big deal. Big deal. So I tip. I don't have a hat, but I'll tip these. I'll tip my.
Thank you, good sir.
I'll tip these. Good day, good day. But quarter past the hour or whatever it is they say over there. But no, it's. But no, I just want to say, just once again, y'all go check out the Kickstarter. Go put some money on this, because I think as it stands, I think it's 6 or 7 days left.
Yes, we are in the home stretch. We are in the home stretch. I have been harassing Kickstarter support, trying to figure out any alternatives we could do. We're coming down to the wire here, but yes, we're in the home stretch. So if you can't, if you are interested, hop over to the Kickstarter, contribute. There's a lot of different rewards. I recently added one where I'll do like script consulting as a writer of TV and film. I also do comedy coaching. I recently added that reward for the last for the home stretch to see if people would and so there's a handful of spots available for those. So if you all are interested in that kind of thing, some of it is through email, but I also have some like virtual like Zoom options as well. I'll read your script. I'll read your script. I'll read it. I'll give you some notes. I'll tell you comedy secrets, whatever comedy secrets I got. I don't have any.
Well, I mean, I think that's actually really cool though, because I mean, that's something that, like, honestly, I don't feel like people do openly. So I mean, yeah, I think that's pretty damn awesome in my opinion. But y'all please go do the thing. I did my part. I'm asking you to do yours. Go get it. Go and if, like I said, because I know I saw quite a few people that were not familiar. Go get all 3 issues. Trust me, it's. You're gonna come back later. You're gonna be like, hey, Ernie, remember that book you were talking about? Yeah, that was good. I was like,
it's not my favorite. I got a tattoo. I got a Junior tattoo on my arm.
Right here. I got Junior on this arm, and I got Sean the Third over here on this arm. Like
I named my daughter Junior.
It's like, hey, look, I'm just saying, it's now family tradition. But no, I think that, I think there's something there. And, to everyone that, if there are any, executives, out there, call my boy. He's out here. I got him.
Please.
He's call the man. And I guess before we get, if there's anything else that you had coming up, I usually like to give people a chance to, if they got other stuff outside of whatever we're talking about. If there's anything else you want to plug while you're here, please, by all means.
Yes, I please watch Fairly Odd Parents: A New Wish. It is on both Netflix and Paramount Plus. However, Netflix only dropped the first 10 episodes, and all episodes just a couple weeks ago were dropped on Paramount Plus. So you can watch the whole thing on Paramount Plus. I wrote around 7 episodes or something like that, including our mid-season and also our season finale. Hopefully not our series finale, but we'll see. And then I got some books coming out. Some books coming out at a couple of the publisher, the bigger publishers. So not Marvel and DC, but be on the lookout for that. Follow me and be on the lookout for that. I'll post when that's happening.
we're like I said, we are we gotta have you followed on everything, so that way everybody can know what's what. Like I said, all the links, everything that's pertinent, it's all there in the description. I literally just put all of it in the chat just in case there are people who are not tech savvy. I don't know, or don't like hidden buttons. You have a version to buttons. I'm putting them in there for you, so you don't even have to do anything. Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I just think they just take up space and breathing all the good humans' air. But no, I'll say thank you so much for taking this time to sit and trib with us to talk about Junior. And like I said, I personally hope this will not be the last time we have James III on here with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone else, for taking the time to come in and hang out with us, listen to us talk and goof off, but also, most importantly, talk about Junior, which you guys are going to go right now. You're not going to walk. You're going to go run to Kickstarter right now. So I don't have to. Just what are you still doing here? What are y'all still doing?
Throw your phone across the room so you have distance to run to, and that's where you're going to do it. Run to it.
Just like that. But thank you all so much, and we're out of here.